juvenile justice, sexual health, HIV, and LGBTIQ plus well-being, and she's also worked for the Royal Commission into Institutional Responses to Child Sexual Abuse. She brings a wealth of therapeutic knowledge, drawing from narrative practice, ACT, crisis intervention, and strength-based approaches. Tonight, TL will talk to us about managing stress, looking after your mental health while navigating migration systems, and what signs to look for when it's time to ask for help. I think as we've listened today to George, some people have been going through the migration process for as long as 30 years, but at the same time, as a peer navigator, I've also met some people who've been able to get their protection visa claim and all sorts in less than 6 months. So it's really, really quite a big net. But I think one thing we could all agree on is that the migration process can be quite traumatic. And I think this is why it's really, really important to think about your mental health and the value of looking after yourself. And again, like I said earlier on, the value of connecting with community. I'm also conscious as we're going a little bit on time. We might just go over time by about 5 minutes today. But before I go on anymore, I'll pass it on to TL. Thank you, TL.
Thank you, Emil. Thanks for your time. Basically, today, what we're doing is we're going to talk about anxiety. We're going to talk about depression. And we're going to talk about, I'm trying to read what, because the next screen is a bit small. What to do, what not to do. And also, what's love got to do with it? I'm serious. There's love involved in this situation too. And then, of course, we talk about the specific strategies that I've got. And then last but not least, let's look for the future, if there's hopes or no hope, or what we can do. So there's a variety of things that I can walk us through. Fabulous. Thank you so much, Jimmy. Can we go to pop to the next slide, please? Thank you. Yep. So what's the meaning of all of this? There's a reason why I put it in such a way. Can we jump to the next slide, please? So what I'm thinking right now is I'm going to talk about anxiety, but I'm not going to go into details about this only because we're not here for a diagnosis, and I'm not here for, a whole lecture on anxiety. Your best bet is to go to Beyond Blue. They're very good, they're easy to read, and they're credible. But the best thing to describe anxiety is, when you're walking along the street and then you slip on the banana peel and you go like that, and then your heart just beat really fast and you're catching breath and you're like, what do I do with myself? That's anxiety. That's feeling anxious. However, it can sometimes, with the banana peel, might be 15, 20 seconds. If you get a really big news like, someone just had to admit to hospital, that's a bit scary. That might last an hour. That might last a whole afternoon. But if you keep feeling this way for days on end and weeks on end, and sometimes even months, that's not a good way to live. That's not a way to exist. So the best way to describe anxiety is a thin stream of fear tripping through the mind. It's just constantly there. It's there. It's not meant to be, but it's there. And as you can see, and I'm sure we can read that there's 6 types of anxieties, and I'm just listing them there for your entertainment, for your purpose of further research, if you like. So when you are feeling anxious, these are the consequence of going through anxiety, and also similar to depression too. But I've listed them here. That's for you to look at. That's because these PowerPoint can be printed in PDF and then post out to folks if that's what you prefer. That's why I'm flying through this, and I'm aware of the time too. And then the next slide, we've got the physical symptoms, which is again very similar to the depression as well. But in anxiety, as you can see, a lot more heart racing, a lot more shaking, twitching, and then maybe profuse sweating, because when people say they're anxious or they're feeling stressed, there's a lot of stomach issues. So these are things for you to look at later on. I'm sorry I put profanity in here, but this is the best way to describe what feeling depressed or sad is. And one of the examples is, I don't know if we remember back in the days, we used to have those answering machines at home. And for someone who's not depressed, they come home, they say, oh, I've got 4 messages. Let's listen to this. Who loved me today? And what kind of message am I get? And then, oh, yes, I need to call these people back. That's really lovely of them to call me to wish me happy birthday. Whereas someone's going through depression, when they see those 4 messages, it is a burden. It is something they have to do and go through. Sometimes they don't even go through them. And when they go through them, they realize, oh, there's 3 people I have to call back. It will take them the effort as if they're moving a whole big mountain, 3 big mountains, just to get through to the task. And that's why I chose the statement, pushing shit uphill. And again, as you can see, there's about 7 types of depressions out there. Some of them are overlapping and some of them even more fatal than others, or not fatal, but some of them are more severe and more costly to the person.
Perhaps, I guess, something from your own experience, things that you've noticed comes up a lot of people who may not understand that they're depressed or anxious. What do you think are like telltale signs sometimes when they show up?
Yeah. A lot of the time, sometimes the individual themselves don't feel it, but if your friends are saying to you, why are you so slow in responding, and not just texting that, but like you seem to be not attentive, or you seem to be not paying attention, or it could be that you're feeling a bit more irritable, because with anxiety and depression you still have you have those as well. And then there are times you're just not engaged in your life. You used to go out a whole lot, or used to want to be involved in activities, and now you're just taking a step back and you're just spending more time by yourself, so to speak. You're withdrawn. And then, of course, there's the other symptoms of some people sleep a lot more. And the major symptoms across both anxiety and depression is that there's disturbance in sleep. You sleep more, but not quality sleep, or that you are not able to fall asleep at all, or you're having nightmares when you sleep. And then the other one is loss of appetite, especially in anxiety, more prominent in that you don't feel like eating, or that you eat but you don't have the appetite, so you don't finish what you normally eat, or that you just stop eating altogether. And of course there's fatigue and there's tiredness in both of the anxiety and depression, because it wears you out. It's yeah, if it happens constantly and for weeks on end or months on end, it is not good for you. Does
Thank
that
you.
answer that?
Yes, thank you.
Yep. So we jump to the next slide. It's about the physical symptoms of depression and anxiety. And I put feeling depressed because sometimes it's only this big. It's not the whole length, and therefore we wouldn't call it depression. We just feeling depressed or sad. And as you can see, and yep, across both these, we've got lost of upset stomach, panic attack, and also lost of libido. So very, very similar, both anxiety and depression. Let's go to the fun bits. So that's the setting the background, the setting the context. So ways to look after mental health. So what happens when you've got anxiety or depression is that sometimes it's an acute situation. Acute means small, succinct, but powerful. What do you do when you have an acute situation? I've got 10 ways of addressing it and 10 ways of combating when you're feeling so much dysregulation that you're up here and you don't know what to do with yourself. And then, of course, you've got some long-term solution as well, because you can't keep doing the 5 grounding techniques all the time. You've got to do other things to help combat with that. And then what to avoid doing. I didn't do a slide about that, so I can tell you right now. If we choose to worry before something happens, essentially we're worrying about it twice, because we're worrying about it now, and then when the event happens, we might have to worry about it again. Why would you want to worry about something twice, for example? And then sometimes it could be that we're worrying about something now, the event happened, it didn't go as badly, or it didn't go the way we think that worry that it's going to go. You basically waste your time worrying about that scenario that you didn't need it to worry about. So have a think about how you spend your worrying wisely or non-wisely. Yeah. So that's one of the things to avoid doing. And the other thing too is sometimes thank you. So sometimes we think that, oh yeah, okay, so this is a trend that we heard in these applications, all that. And we're thinking, oh, but it's going to apply to me, and if it applies to me, that means I have to sell my house, I have to do this and this. We tend to catastrophize, and when we catastrophize, we literally let go of that. We literally let go of our control, and we let the anxiety take over, or the depressing situation take over. And next thing you know, we're just we're a bit more helpless compared to what we were before. So be wise about what you spend your time worrying about. Okay, so what can we do? Let's talk about 10 techniques. So the first one is, if you have some really sour lollies or lemon straight in your mouth, that brings you right back to where you are right now, because you could be panicking, you'd be stressed, you could be fidgeting. But if we've got something really strong sense in our one of our senses, it will bring us this way. Get an ice cube, put it in your hand, but you have to hold it all the way until it melts completely. Otherwise, it won't be effective, because then you start feeling numbness in your hand and you start paying attention to where the sensation is in your hand, and it brings it from here down to here. Yeah. Some people like to do a power pose. In my case, when I've been crying and I don't want to cry anymore, I put on lipstick. It changes the way you feel, because the way that you present to your mirror, the way that you present to the world, will start changing the way that you're thinking and feeling. Some people like to sing, some people like to do karaoke, some people to listen to really, really powerful music, some people like to listen to certain, hip hop, trance, or whatever it is, or some people exercise when they listen to music. That also makes a difference. Similar to the holding the ice cube, you dunk your whole face into a bowl of ice water, literally in there. Don't breathe. Put your face in there and notice and watch the way that your anxiety or your whatever feelings that's heightened brings itself down. You talk to yourself in third person. TL, I think you're going through something right now. Let's have a conversation about how we're going to change this. Tell yourself, you've got this, you can do this. Because if you, I'm going to segue a little bit. If you think back, someone could come up to me and say, TL, you did a really great job today. Fantastic. And then someone comes up to you, TL, you know that purple in your hair? It makes me think of this monster in Pokemon. And yeah, it doesn't suit you. Bet you any money, I'm going to walk away thinking about the Pokemon reference and the fact that my hair doesn't look good more so than someone said I did a good job today. Do you know what I mean? And that comes from you talking to yourself, you repeating this to yourself. So never underestimate the power of your message to yourself. And that's why if you flip the script and say, you've got this, you can do this, it makes a huge difference. Now, I don't know if we all have heard about the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding techniques, but I can tell you right now, and I'll do it slow. So if you ever need to replay this video, you can catch it. That's 5 things you can see around you. So in my situation right now, I can see my laptop, I can see my lamp, I can see a feather, I can see my phone, and I can see my bottle of water. It's 4 things that you can touch, but it cannot be the 5 things that you just saw. So I can see a Rubik's Cube, I can see my watch. I can touch my Rubik's Cube, I can touch my watch, I can touch my mouse, and I can touch this hand rest bread roll. 3 things you can hear. So if I pay attention now, I can hear my own voice, I can hear the traffic out there, and I can hear the air conditioning in the background. And then it's 2 things that you can smell. Have a look around, just pay attention, because these are the things that are forcing you to pay attention, to literally move you from where your anxiety is and where your heightened situation is to here and now. I can smell coffee that someone's brewing, and I can smell the perfume that I sprayed on this morning. And then 1 thing you can taste. Just thinking, what did I have last? Oh yeah, I had some Coke. So I can taste the Coke in my mouth right now. So 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, but not the same thing that you can see. 3 things you can hear, 2 things that you can, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. So keep going through that. And then once you feel it's working, but you want to keep going, you can actually move to another room and then do that again. Or you can go outside into the garden and do that again. And I can guarantee after 1 or 2 times of doing that, you start to realize, actually, it's not so bad. I can carry on now. Some people like chewing gum. And I don't know if you remember that one of the psychology trick is if you chew gum during the time that you learn your maths, you're studying for your exam, and then when you go to exam, start chewing gum again. It's a mnemonic trick that people use, but for some reason it activates a different parts of your brain, and therefore it helps to bring you from here down to here as well. A few people like to use a weighted blanket, or just to be really hugged really, really tightly if you're lucky to have someone around you at the time you're feeling heightened anxiety or heightened emotion. But yeah, give that a go, because it could be for some people, it may not be for another person. And then some people like to write things down, and then it's not just about writing down is great. It's cathartic because you let it out. However, if you write it and then read it again and then go, okay, maybe that wasn't right. Start writing another version of it, and next thing you know, you're literally distilling the emotion you're feeling, and from up here you'll come down here. Can I ask for a volunteer? And I believe someone I knew in the past has volunteered for me before. Can I get you to just jump over to your screen, please, Jimmy?
Which?
And if you can, and I need to turn your sound on. And also, have you got an item or object in front of you, Jimmy?
Yeah, the glass of water. Do I need to show my camera?
No.
I'm sure. No? Oh, okay.
Yep. Do you have anything else aside glass water?
My phone.
Great.
Custom.
Perfect. Perfect.
Your phone? Okay.
Right. Tell me, what shape is your phone?
Square, rectangle. Sorry.
What is your phone made of?
Platinum? No, sorry. Oh, I couldn't remember. Sorry, it's
what is it?
iPhone. Sorry. It's iPhone.
I know, but what material? Is it like metal? Is it plastic?
Metal, metal. Yeah.
Yep. And glass, maybe. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. What's the feeling of the phone? Like this top side, the bottom
Uh,
side? What's that like?
So top is kind of like, because it's glass, it's very kind of against your hands when you're rubbing it, but the back is very smooth, then making this nice sound when I rub it.
Mhm. And does your phone have, and if you don't switch it on, does your phone have any writing or any picture on it at all? Like if you look around.
Yeah, it does. There's a Apple logo
Mhm.
itself. Yeah.
And what color is the Apple logo?
Uh, Dark navy blue.
Okay. Now, is your phone, if you were to hold your phone up like this, can you balance it with your fingers, or like is there one end that's heavier than the other or something like that? Tell me.
No, I think it's okay. With one finger, it's fine. Yeah.
Okay. Do me a favor. If you tap the back of it and the front of it, is there different sounds that you can hear?
Yeah, different sound.
Normally I ask people to balance it, but I won't make you do that because that's not fair on your phone. Now, do you feel that the temperature wise, is there a difference between the front and the back of the phone?
No, it feels the same actually.
So the glass at the front and the back, no difference?
Yeah, it feels pretty much the same. I wouldn't say there's difference.
Okay. What you've just done is spend 2 minutes going through a mindfulness activity with me, Jimmy. Where's your mind? Where is your mind right now, this minute?
Oh, we're here.
On the phone.
Yes.
Do you remember what we
On the
talked about
phone?
earlier?
Yes, yeah. I think like kind of like focusing on this item that I was doing. So which is my phone, but also hearing your instruction like to do things around the item that I was holding it.
Absolutely. So, with the, I like to share with the participants is that the audience is that you can do this with any object around you at any given time and ask yourself questions just the way that I asked you me. That's one way to bring yourself to mindfulness, and that's one way to regulate yourself from up here to bring yourself down, and it's instant and it works. I remember one time I was sharing this with my client, and she really liked it. She thought, I'm going to go and show someone else in the in the residential hall that she was staying at, because the other person was going to court and they were quite distressed. And she said, here's a water bottle, here's a bottle of water. Why don't you go through this with me? The person got so angry, threw the bottle against the wall, then picked it up and then started working on it. So it works, even if they get angry at first. Thank you. So, like I said, that those are the 10 techniques there I share with you is for acute situation when you're feeling really, really anxious and you just need to bring yourself from up here down to here so you can get on with your life. The other things that you can do, because this is like George was saying, it could be months, it could be years before you wait, and we can't live in this anxiety. We want to do things that make a difference to ourselves and our mental health. First of all, let's have a conversation with ourselves. It is okay to be anxious. It is okay to feel depressed, because this is taking its toll on your body and on your mind. There's no way you can escape this. This is fact. This is true. Let's live with that, or find ways to live with it better. Always reach out to your friends, share your feelings with people, or your workers, or your peer people, or whoever is available in your life and in your circle. Stay connected, meaning keep going out with people, keep seeing with people. If we withdraw, then we miss out on that connection. We miss out the opportunity to get someone to help. They can help us to regulate ourselves, co-regulations. Before I was saying, replace your thoughts, clear your thinking. TL, you've got this. Let's do this. And also, sometimes you can write yourself a little speech. You can write yourself a little spiel. I know this is hard. I know this is a long thing, but I'm gonna live through this. I'm gonna get through this. Whatever the outcome is, there's going to be a way that I'm going to live a good life, a life that I desire. And practice makes perfect, meaning keep saying that to yourself when you feel anxious or when you feel overwhelmed. Because of doing that, you're forcing yourself to focus on the here and now. And because you're here and now, whatever's up there goes back down. But also, it helps you to deal with long term. And of course, our bodies are very important to us. We need to drink, we need to eat. Sometimes drink a bit of alcohol is nice too, or other substances that we need. But also, we exercise as well. And some people go for a run or walk, or if you don't have your own dog, go down to the local dog park. spend some time with some four-legged creatures. They might be interesting. When I say get busy here, like George was saying earlier, why not volunteer? One of my favorite suggestions to folks is go to the animal shelter, because they're always needing people to clean out cages or take dogs for a walk, if that's what you like, or hang out with some cats. But do things that might be helpful for your visa. And there's a variety of I think in New South Wales there is a New South Wales volunteer page, but I don't know about Victoria. So start googling, see what you can do. And never ever underestimate a hobby, because hobbies are always really good, because you always have something to show. My favorite hobby is knitting. I knit all the time, even when I'm listening to people, or watch some stuff and knit, because you've got something to give people at the end, but also it keeps you busy, and it also calms your mind as well. And as I said before, go out for a walk, time out. You can go to the beach. You can just sit and read a book, just hang out on the balcony and just enjoy the sun, that kind of stuff. But this is for when you're not feeling too acute. This is just something to sustain, and you can build this in as part of your daily living, if you so wish. Okay, so what's love got to do with it? So these are the 4 things that I've actually learned from my clients. So I was saying to one of my clients, you know what, as we grow up, things happen and we have to deal with it. But as a child, when I fell over and I grazed my knee, my mom would pick me up and then she put a Band-Aid on and she'd kiss it better for me. And my client said, you mean I have to learn to kiss myself better? And so what it means is, literally kiss yourself better. That's a nice thing too. But it also means that if you are going to be talking to yourself, if you're going to be motivating yourself, or if you're going to look at the situation and say, okay, I need to big up, I need to, human up and do something about this, then how am I going to do it so that I'm kissing myself better, so that I'm talking to myself and treating myself through compassionate and kindness lens, rather than pushing myself and chastising myself, because we all do that all the time, don't we? Sometimes we say, oh, if, for example, Mardi Gras is happening and then we need to exercise, we need to the gym. So we can say, if you're at the gym, you're not going to look good, you're not going to pick up any Mardi Gras, you're going to be single throughout this whole stage. That's not what you want. Go out there and push yourself to get done. Or you can say, well, if I exercise, certain chemicals be released, I might enjoy that. And if I exercise, I'm look fabulous. And all these people on Grindr are going to love me, or wherever. But the point is, you can, so you kiss yourself better, meaning go through the compassion, kindness ways of talking to yourself. And by doing that, you can choose a carrot or you can use a stick, but be wise in what you use to motivate yourself. And then, of course, that links back to how you talk to yourself. Yelling at yourself might get moving, but speaking to yourself respectfully and requesting yourself to do something and be gentle with yourself, I think a lot of us will find it more appealing to the ears. And then last but not least, you've already got this. You've been through worse situations in the past. You've been through many, many situations that's harrowing and scary, and you were your own hero. You've got your cape fluttering in the back. You can do this. Just keep reminding yourself. And I just want to segue a little bit. I know that we're going over time. I'm sorry, I'm trying to speed up, but I want to segue really quickly. A lot of people don't think that they have the capacity to change their mood, or that to move their emotions around a bit. But every single one of us have done this. And I'll give you my prime example. When I was in high school, I had a crush on this individual in my class, and she was very pretty. So I kept writing her name and my name and love heart and all that. And then my maths teacher said to me, TL, what's the answer to question 4? And I went, so I started quickly look it up and then go the answer. And I literally went from a daydreaming TL, a TL that's often on another planet, back to this TL here and now. So if I can manage to do that and switch my mood and my present and my being present around, we've all done this and we all can do it. So what's the meaning of all of this? Meaning that because as human beings, for us to live a life that we feel fulfilled, live a life that we enjoy, and live a life that is that makes sense to us, is usually we have to do things that are in line with our values. Yeah. So things that are in line with our values, such as I'm a social worker, I could volunteer with Lifeline, that kind of, not that I do it, but I do help family and friends with their housing forms, or ringing the council, complain about the neighbor's dog or something like that. But do things that make me feel that I'm useful, make me feel like I'm contributing to the community, making me feel like I can make a contribution to this space and make this space a better place. And that goes in line with my value. And then also because none of us are guaranteed to stay in Australia. So if we're not guaranteed to stay in Australia, what are our plan B? One of my clients that I work with, you know, he really needs to stay here, but he also knows that if he does go back to his country of origin, how about he earns as much as he can here, because he had the condition to able to work on his visa, and squirrel the money away so that when he goes back to his country, he can open his own clothing shop, or he can start working with fashion designs and things like that. That's the kind of things that he was passionate about. So having backup plan, so then if things actually not go the way you want, there's this that you can execute. So is there hope for the future? And I wrote You Tell Me because there's a little story that I'm going to tell you. So with the North African indigenous people, the Indian people, I suppose, call them, the grandfather and the grandchild were talking. And the grandfather says that there are two wolves inside of you, and they're always fighting. There's a wolf that's really jealous and angry and malicious and slashing out at all people all the time and just showing his teeth. And then the other wolf, she's very kind, compassionate, lovely, and sweet and gentle and considerate towards others and always looking out for others' people's needs. And then they're like this. And the grandchild said, "So which one wins, grandfather?" And he said, "It's the one that you feed." So it's all inside of you. It sits with you all along. You know what's in here. You know what you want to nurture. Go ahead and nurture what you want to happen. So sit with that. And so if you want to nurture hopes, hope will be here. If you nurture anxiety or if you give depression more fuel, they will just grow bigger. But the answer lies with you. And when I say hope for the future, I mean, it could go multiple ways, but even if the person doesn't get to stay in the country, there's still hopes that, you can live a better life or a different life when you have to return to your country of origin. But keep feeding the positivity, the good wolf or the wolf that you think needs feeding inside of you. And that is that's my suggestion and recommendation. I think that's the last slide.
Thank you so much, TL. We just have a few questions that people have asked. Let me go with them one by one. And again, thank you everyone for staying back a little bit. We'll probably go for just an extra 7 minutes. Is that okay with you, TL?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. First question. I find myself often gaslighting my own feeling. How can I do it regularly to teach myself not to do that?
So what was the middle word? I missed out the main word. You do something to your feeling?
Gaslighting.
Oh, gaslighting yourself. Oh my goodness. You're just talking about the unique human experience. Yes, right there. Okay. Ask yourself, why are you gaslighting yourself? Literally listen, have a conversation with yourself. And you can always, my favorite thing to do is write a pros and cons list on whatever you choose to write or type up. What are the good things about gaslighting? What are the negative about gaslighting? And once you've done that, you can see for yourself what you choose to do, what you should do. That's feeding the wolf. Yeah. And then how do you go around with your feelings? Talk to a professional if you can, because sometimes they're not available or there's a long wait list or it costs a lot. Bring some of the Lifeline or Beyond Blue. Sometimes they have really good counselors on there, or you can do chat with them and say, "This is what I'm feeling. How do I get around this?" And there's free advice out there.
What do you think about something like AI or people using ChatGPT for mental health support?
I have heard good feedbacks and I've also heard scary feedback. If it works for you, do it. But if it gets to the point where you think you're using it, you think it's working, but other people are saying to you, you're more irritable, you're withdrawn and you're this and that. And some of the general indications that I mentioned earlier about anxiety and depression, then stop using AI. But it depends on how it is for you and what the people around you giving you feedback. Hopefully you've got friends who or colleagues or people around you to mirror to you that if it's working or not, so to speak. But
Next question. Are there any free mental health supports available, especially for international students, since a lot of us don't have Medicare?
I know that's really tricky. Okay. The first thing comes to my mind is your university. Wherever you are, there's always counselors on site and they are for free. So tap into that. The second one is if There's some women health center around that is free service for folks, especially they're designed for people who don't have a lot of money or students per se. And thirdly, if you're in the LGBTIQ community in Sydney, in New South Wales, then all the sexual health clinics are for free. And within the sexual health clinic, there's always attached a social worker or a counselor there. So that's another way to tap into the service per se. The 3 months thing I think of. If folks are LGBTIQ, you can go to Thorn Harbour. I don't know what their wait list is like, but have a check out with them. And I know the Beyond Blue, you can call, I think it could be for free. And they've got chat options as well. So they're the first few ones that come to my mind.
When these grounding techniques still don't work, what do I do then? Sometimes
How
it's
many-
easier said than done.
True. Sometimes you just have to jump on the phone and just call one of those numbers that we talked about earlier, either Lifeline or Beyond Blue or etc. Because in that situations, you're not able to. You're literally way too up here. You're not even conscious enough to go through the 10 that I talked about to even jump in and do that. Get additional help from the outside to come in for you.
I can just echo what you're saying, TL. I've used those telephone lines before. So for people who are interested, look up Google or put in your Safari or any search engine Beyond Blue or Lifeline. And there are free phone numbers that you can call for mental health support. And they're available.
Absolutely.
Sorry.
Beyondblue.org.au. So they've got a whole website there too.
Last question. With long waiting, stressful times, any practical tips on how to take care of my mental health? I get so fixated with visas and it's overwhelming. How do I distract my mind away from constantly thinking about it?
What do you like to do in life when you were not waiting for a visa? Are you someone who enjoy learning to cook new things? Are you someone who enjoys spending time with animals? Are you someone who enjoys jigsaw puzzle? But go back to the time. Ask yourself, what did you like to do before all this happened, and then start exploring that and ignite your own passion. Because it's the best example. You've got this bottle that I've got here, right? I don't know if you can see it very well. I can hold this for, what do you reckon? 5 minutes? Yeah. Half an hour? Yep, maybe. But if you ask me to hold that for 2 hours or a whole day, I can't do it. It's impossible, to do that. It's the same with all the negative thoughts in your mind, especially your anxiety, you worry about your future and uncertainty, all that. Same with marathon runners. They cannot run forever. They run and they stop, have a drink, and then they keep running. So we need to put this down to one side and get on with the other things that we do. And that's why all those 10 the acute 10 grounding techniques that I was talking about will literally bring you from up here to down here, and then sustain your being down here with the other things that I said that is not like going for a walk, listen to music and start a hobby and volunteering, things like that. But sit down with yourself, do your pros and cons if you have to. This is what I like to do. What will happen if I do this now? And even by virtue of you doing this activity, cognitively put your mind into doing that activities, you will realize that the shift is from where you were anxious before back to here. And when you're here, then you're in control again. And once you're in control, you can do whatever you want.
Thank you. Is George still with you?
Absolutely.
Because we just have one last question. Does that mean all health waivers for HIV cases get approved and that we don't have to worry?
He's getting up from the couch to come over.
Because every health assessment for a permanent visa to be positive at the moment is going to be more than $86,000. There's a risk. I don't know how many are approved. The ones that we take on professionally in my office are always approved because we're very careful to address all of those issues that I talked about. But don't take it lightly. Don't be careful here. It's not going to be approved automatically. We know that the department doesn't approve everything because they've got to refuse some people to justify the continuation of their program. Don't be one of the unlucky ones. Take it carefully. Remember that in their mind, there's a cost-benefit analysis looking at what you can bring to Australia and try to maximize that. For overseas students, there must have been some resources for you able to come to Australia in the first place. reach out to your family or whatever, show your savings, show your current income, because the government will refuse you if you can't show that your value to Australia is more than the $110,000, $112,000. But I mean, it's a much better position than it was 6 years ago. If you're HIV positive, they said you were going to cost $600,000 because they look at the lifetime costs. Now they look at 10 years. And as I said, we're hoping that if Dovato becomes in the front line, then it may be that everybody is going to be approved, but not yet. So don't take that risk. Yep. Okay.
Thank you so much, George. Thank you.
Okay.
And again, I just want to thank TL again and George. Thank you, TL. That was really grounding and affirming. Well, now, I guess like before we close, I just wanted to make sure that, everyone here has access to the right support. As George mentioned earlier on, there's the HIV/AIDS Legal Center. The website's www.halc.org.au, and they provide free migration advice for all people living with HIV in Australia. If they can't support you, they will refer you to someone who can do it locally. Like I said, you can always reach out to us as well, because we have met a lot of people who've gone through private migration agents and lawyers as well, who've helped them through the migration process. I think as someone who's listened to both of you, it just really goes to show how much preparation and being careful about it, being very thoughtful about it. But I think most importantly, again, just asking around and connecting with community. So much of what TL talks about is really learning to be present to your surrounding and being aware of how you feel. And I think being around people can help that. Anxiety is the friend of isolation. And I think, as you've shown, the biggest solution is to connect. If it's not to the things around you, it's through the people and the community, or finding something and connecting with yourself. And I think that's a very, very important lesson that we can all always remember. One other thing is that each state has an HIV positive organization, so never hesitate to reach out to one of us. Like I said, you have us at NAPWA, again, me at Living Positive Victoria, who are there to connect you, even if you're not in Victoria. The other thing is, like, all sexual health clinics have counseling or referral services available to them. So if you're getting your HIV care, they will be able to refer you to somewhere you can get counseling from, or psychological help from, for free. Now, if you are working, sometimes there's a possibility that they have what they call an EAP, which is an employee assistance program. This means that you can actually access free counseling services through your work. Now, again, to just echo what TL said earlier on, if you're studying, if you're a university, college, there's a well-being team there that can help you. And again, your local positive organization, like us, like me, like Jimmy, and everyone else here, can be your great first point of contact. This really brings us to the end of tonight's session. Thank you again to George and TL for your time, wisdom, and generosity. And thank you to all of you for being here. We hope tonight gave you just not just information, but also a bit of clarity, confidence, and connection. I know for some of us here that you probably have a lot more questions, and that's normal. That's why we're here. And, what we really try and promote here is for you to constantly be connected with us, so that you don't feel like you're alone, because you're really not. It's something that we listen and talk to every day. And I think some special shout out also goes to Simeon, who is the one driving all of this work, who you're not seeing right now, but they're there. And Jimmy as well, who's been helping us with the technical support. We will be providing the PowerPoint, and this will be recorded, so you can share it to people that you think can benefit from it, or also rewatch it again if you need to. Again, we hope tonight gave you just the information. The recording will be shared with you shortly, so please stay in touch. Reach out if you need anything, and take good care of yourselves, okay? Be gentle with yourself, and like I said, be kind. Always try your best to be kind to yourself. Have a beautiful night, everyone, and thank you again, George and TL.
And remember, choose the wolf that you want to feed.
That's it.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
Have a lovely night.
Good night, everyone.